I'm 72 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that a lot of people don't want to hear. I married the wrong person and wasted nearly 50 years trying to make the marriage work. The worst part isn't even that it happened. The worst part is that I knew on day one, not 10 years in, not after the first big fight, not when the love faded. Day one. The very first day I stood next to them and felt everyone smiling at us like we'd won life, there was a tiny voice inside me that said, "This isn't right." And I ignored it. I'm not telling you this to drag anyone. I'm not making this video to play the victim or to make you hate marriage or to make you cynical. I'm making this because I'm running out of time. And if you're watching this in your 20s or 30s or even your 40s, you still have something I don't have much of anymore. Options. Time. The ability to stop digging before the hole becomes your home. You've probably heard people say, relationships take work. That's true. But nobody tells you the difference between work that builds a life and work that slowly erases you. I spent decades confusing the two. When I was young, I thought love was supposed to feel like a movie. That if you were mature, you'd choose stability. That butterflies were childish. That doubt was normal. That if your friends approved and your parents were relieved, you were doing it right. Society teaches you how to choose a job better than it teaches you how to choose a partner. At least with a job, you can quit without breaking your own heart. But with a partner, you don't just pick a person. You pick your future mornings. You pick your weekends. You pick the way you'll feel in your own house. You pick the tone of your life, and I picked wrong. Let me take you back to day one. We were standing there, dressed up, smiling for photographs. People were clapping. My mother was crying. There were flowers and music and all the usual words. Someone said, "You two are perfect together." And I remember this strange, cold clarity washing over me, like someone poured ice water down my spine. Not panic, not fear, clarity. I looked at the person I had just promised my life to, and I felt pressure. Like I'd just stepped onto a stage and forgot my lines. Like I'd just signed a contract and didn't read the fine print. Like I had agreed to a lifetime of performing something called happiness. My chest tightened. My throat went dry. I thought, this is what everyone feels. This is just nerves. That's the first lie I told myself. Because there's a difference between normal nerves and your body trying to protect you. There's a difference between excitement and dread wearing a disguise. I knew. Not in a dramatic way, not with fireworks. It was quieter than that. It was a simple realization. I don't feel safe being fully myself with this person. That's the real warning sign people ignore, not the obvious red flags, not the yelling, not the cheating, not the chaos. The subtle thing. The moment you realize you are editing yourself in the presence of the person who's supposed to be your home. I told myself, it'll get better after the wedding. Then, it'll get better after we move. Then, it'll get better after the baby. Then, it'll get better when work slows down. Then, it'll get better when we're older and calmer. Let me save you years with one sentence. If you have to keep postponing peace, you don't have peace. I'm going to say something that might make you uncomfortable. Sometimes when you're choosing a partner, you're not choosing love. You're choosing relief. Relief from loneliness, relief from pressure, relief from the fear that you're falling behind, relief from being the single one, relief from your family asking questions, relief from your own doubts. And relief is a terrible reason to build a lifetime. The truth is, I didn't marry because I was deeply aligned with them. I married because it felt like the next step, because it looked right, because everyone said it was right, because I was afraid that if I didn't, I would have to face the terrifying question, what do I actually want? And I wasn't brave enough to answer it. We weren't a disaster at first. That's why it's so hard. If it had been obviously horrible, I might have left. The relationship was fine. Fine is dangerous. Fine is how you sleepwalk into 20 years. We had good days. We laughed sometimes. We functioned. We paid bills. We showed up to events. We looked like a couple. But behind closed doors, there was a constant friction, like two pieces of sandpaper trying to pretend they were silk. I would say something innocent, and it would turn into criticism. I would share something I cared about, and it would be met with coldness. I would be excited, and it would be dismissed. I would be tired, and it would be made about them. I would want connection, and it would feel like negotiation. So I adapted. I became smaller. I became quieter. I became easy. I became the version of myself that caused the least turbulence. And at the time, I called it maturity. But it wasn't maturity. It was self-abandonment. Here's how you know you're in the wrong relationship. You start measuring your life by how little you upset the other person. You start living like you're walking across glass, always trying to distribute your weight so nothing cracks. And you know what happens when you do that for long enough? You forget what it feels like to walk normally. By my 40s, I had a strange sadness that I couldn't explain. On paper, everything looked fine. Career moving forward, house, routine, respect. People said, "You're doing great." But inside, I felt like I was living someone else's life. I remember one night sitting in the car outside my own home. The engine was off, the street was quiet, and I didn't want to go inside. Not because I was scared of violence, not because something dramatic would happen, because I knew the moment I walked through that door, a part of me would switch off. That's the part nobody talks about. Sometimes the wrong relationship isn't a storm, it's a slow dimming, and you don't notice you're in the dark until you can't remember what light looked like. Now let me tell you the real cost, because this is where the married the wrong person story stops being romance and starts being life and death. The cost is not just fights, the cost is time. It's the trip you never took because it would cause drama. It's the friends you slowly stopped seeing because it wasn't worth the tension. It's the hobbies you let die because they didn't approve. It's the parts of you that stayed locked up because they weren't welcome. And worst of all, it's the way you start believing you deserve less. You start thinking, maybe this is just what love is. You start thinking, maybe I'm asking for too much. You start thinking, maybe everyone feels lonely in their marriage. No, everyone doesn't. Some people feel safe. Some people feel seen. Some people feel like they can breathe in their own house. I didn't. I stayed for reasons that sounded noble and responsible. The kids, the finances, the history, the fear of starting over, the fear of being judged, the fear that leaving would prove I failed. I told myself, I'm doing the right thing. But here's another truth nobody tells you when you're young. You can do the right thing and still ruin your life. Because if your version of right requires you to slowly disappear, it isn't right. It's just familiar. And then time did what time always does. It passed, quietly, relentlessly. One day I looked in the mirror and realized I was older than I ever imagined I'd be. The face looking back at me wasn't a young man with potential. It was a man with a limited number of years left. And that's when the question hit me, harder than anything. If my life ended soon, would I be proud that I stayed? Not proud that I endured, not proud that I kept the family together, proud that I actually lived. I didn't have a dramatic wake-up moment like a movie, no lightning bolt, no perfect speech, just a series of small realizations stacking up until the weight became unbearable. I watched friends retire and realized they didn't even like the person they lived with. I watched couples who stayed together out of habit become strangers in the same room. I watched people die with unfinished conversations and silent resentment. I watched a man I knew, successful, respected, loved by everyone. Whisper at his wife's funeral, I wasted my chance to love her properly. And something in me broke. I thought, I don't want to reach the end like that. So here's the part that matters, and this is why my channel is called What It Is. It's never too late. Not to reclaim yourself, not to change the way you love, not to fix what you can fix, not to leave what you need to leave, not to tell the truth. Sometimes never too late means you rebuild the relationship from the ground up, honestly, painfully, courageously. Sometimes it means you finally get help. Sometimes it means therapy. Sometimes it means boundaries. Sometimes it means accountability. Sometimes it means you admit you've both been living in a script that doesn't fit. And sometimes, never too late means you stop pretending. I'm not here to tell you what choice to make. I don't know your life, but I can give you something I wish someone had given me when I was young. A way to tell the difference between normal relationship work and a slow death of the soul. Here are 3 questions. Answer them honestly. First, can you tell this person the truth about who you are without being punished for it? Not debated, not corrected, punished with coldness, with contempt, with ridicule, with emotional withdrawal. Second, when you imagine the next 10 years, do you feel lighter or smaller? Your body tells the truth before your mouth does. Third, if nothing ever changed, could you live this exact life until you die? Not could you survive, could you live? If those answers scare you, do not ignore that fear. Fear is not always weakness. Sometimes fear is wisdom arriving before your mind is ready. Now here's what I would do if I could go back to day 1 and talk to the younger me, standing there in a suit, smiling for photos while my stomach sank. I would say, don't confuse being chosen with being loved. I would say, don't marry someone you have to perform for. I would say, don't call it loyalty if it's just fear. I would say, don't build a life you constantly need a break from. And most importantly, that quiet voice inside you, that's you. Listen. If you're watching this and you're already married and your heart just tightened, don't panic. Panic makes people do stupid things, but don't numb yourself either. Don't scroll away and bury this because it hurts. If it hurts, it matters. Start small. Tonight, do 3 things. 1, write 1 sentence you've been afraid to admit to yourself about your relationship. Just 1. No poetry, no excuses, the raw truth. 2, have 1 honest conversation this week. Not an argument, a truth. I don't feel close to you. I miss myself. I'm scared of our future. If you can't say it safely, that's information too. 3, make 1 decision that brings you back to yourself. Call a friend, join a gym, take a class. Start the thing you stopped. Your life cannot be entirely dependent on 1 person's approval. Because here is the tragedy of my story. I didn't just marry the wrong person. I stayed wrong for too long. And I don't want that for you. I'm 72 now. I can't get back what I lost. I can't relive the years where I could have started over with less fear and more energy. I can't rewind the moments I swallowed my truth to keep the peace. But I can do this. I can tell you what it cost me. It cost me joy I postponed. It cost me confidence I surrendered. It cost me years I'll never see again. And I can also tell you this, even at 72, something incredible happens when you stop lying to yourself. You breathe again, you sleep differently, you feel your own heartbeat and realize you're still here. You still have a life. So if you're 25 and you're dating someone and there's a quiet dread you keep calling normal, hear me. If you're 35 and you're engaged and you keep hoping they'll change after the wedding, hear me. If you're 45 and you're married and you feel like a ghost in your own home, hear me. Don't wait for the perfect time. It will not come. Life will always give you reasons to delay the truth. Bills, kids, reputation, fear, comfort, habit. But one day you'll wake up and realize the reason you waited was the same reason you wasted years. You were more afraid of change than you were afraid of regret. And regret is patient. It will wait for you at the end. I'm not here to shame you. I'm here to wake you up. Because the day you stop living on autopilot is the day your real life starts. And I promise you this, it's never too late to start living intentionally. It's never too late to choose honesty. It's never too late to become someone you respect. If this hit you, don't just nod and move on. Leave a comment with your age and the one truth you've been avoiding. And if you want more of these conversations, the ones people don't have until it's too late, subscribe. The clock is ticking. Are you going to keep performing a life that doesn't fit? Or are you going to start telling the truth while you still can?